Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Scharf Show here on 99.1 FM WIUXN. One of the best words in sports is upon us. It is playoff time. We kicked off NBA playoffs last week. We got NHL playoffs starting tonight. Tonight, we got the schedule going for the NHL playoffs, and I'm pumped. I am psyched. We got the NFL draft as well next week. We are still in the middle of the first month of MLB baseball. What a time to be a sports fan. What a time. We're going to start with what was the most entertaining part of this past weekend. And that was the NBA playoffs. I think the best first game, or game one, was the Sacramento Kings against the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. This was a fantastic game. Ends with the Sacramento Kings getting their first win. Light the beam in 16 or 17 years, their first playoff win. Absolute scenes at Sacramento. The place was rocking. Back and forth action, especially in the fourth quarter. Fox and Curry and Monk and Clay just trading bucket after bucket after clutch bucket. And it was so entertaining to watch. This is going to be, in my opinion, the best series in the first round. And I will start talking with De'Aaron Fox. Fox ended the night 38 points. 4 of 8 from 3, 3 of 27 from the field, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a +4 on the court. This is the De'Aaron Fox I thought could be when he came out of college. De'Aaron Fox is my favorite player to watch, not on my favorite team, the Brooklyn Nets. I love watching De'Aaron Fox. There's a difference between quickness and speed. For anybody who doesn't know. When somebody says this player's quick, that means his first 2 touches, his first 2 steps, his first 2 strides, that is quickness. How fast he can get those first two strides and get his motion going towards the basket, going towards the the net, going just any direction to get added that first 2 couple steps advantage on the defender. That's quickness. Speed is just the rest of it, how fast somebody is after those first 2 steps. Some players, they have a quick first 2 steps. They can start their motion right away. But they're not as fast, so they got to use that. They got to get those first 2 steps in and make their move because they'll have that advantage. Other guys, they don't have a great first 2 steps, but it takes a while for them to get going. But once they get going, they got speed. They got endless speed. So they usually need a little bit more time to get going. But when you have the combination, quickness, you get that little gap, whether it be basketball, football, hockey, soccer, you get that little gap, and then you can keep that gap or make it bigger with your speed. It's deadly. And that is what De'Aaron Fox has. He has quickness. He has speed. And the one knock on De'Aaron Fox for most of his career is he can't really shoot the 3-ball well. He could do he's good defensively as he guarded Curry the first and fourth quarter and didn't do a terrible job. Obviously, you're not going to contain Steph Curry, but you could try to make it hard on him. He was able to not just do that. He was able to get to the rim. He was able to get his buckets at the rim using his quickness, his speed, using his floater game, using maybe if he has a smaller defender, back him down a bit. But like I said, the one knock on his game in years past has been his 3-ball. And you know what? This season he shot it better. And he showed that he can knock him down when he needs to in this game, going 4 of 8 from 3. Fox said, I need to trust my shot more, and he definitely does. Because I think if Fox puts on a series like he did in Game 1, which is the second most points scored in a playoff debut ever, only Luka surpasses it, which is wild that those both guys are the highest on a playoff points in a playoff debut, guys that are playing right now. Luka not in the playoffs, but playing in this day and age. I think Fox can put himself towards the top of the A-level point guards. I don't think he's going to get close to that S tier. I think S tier, you got Curry, you got Luka, you got Dame. But I think he can put himself in that Ja Morant kind of category. I think you could put him with Ja Morant, with Trae Young. You could put him there. I think he's on the lower tier. If you talk to most people before the year, he's a lower tier, A tier, maybe high B tier kind of point guard. But I think he can consider himself. He could secure himself, maybe a top 5, looked at as a top 5 point guard in this league if he continues to play like that, because it really put a spotlight on him, and people are starting to talk about Fox. But not just him. His old Kentucky mate, Malik Monk, he dropped 32 points, 14 of 14 from the line, a very efficient 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. He also had 3 rebounds and 2 assists on the day. Again, this is a backcourt that you saw in Kentucky that works very well. They know how each other plays. They know their play style. They know where they like to be on the court. They know what kind of shots they like, what kind of shots they don't like, what kind of passes, where you want the pass to come, where they know how to read the defense together, what kind of pick and rolls they like, what kind of plays they like to run. And while you can get that in the NBA, when you've had it in college and then you move it up and you've kind of grown with the player, it's a lethal duo. And I think it will serve Malik Monk very well to continue to play with Fox. I think it'll make his career that much better. And for just the Sacramento Kings team to do what they did, to play that well, and still have only Sabonis, who shot 5 of 17 from the field, only had 2 points in the second half. Very poor performance from Sabonis. He did control the boards. He found another way to get involved. Had 11 defensive rebounds, 16 total rebounds. But very poor shooting night from Sabonis, which probably won't happen to this extent, at least again. This is impressive from the Kings. Now, I will say, for the Warriors, who I picked the Warriors to win this series in 7, I am still not as concerned. You were at Sacramento. This was a tough game. And you just didn't execute everything. You had good game plans. I thought the work they did on Sabonis can be somewhat repeatable. I don't think it's going to be to this effect, but I think they can do some damage against Sabonis. Now, I think if they tried to let Trey Lyles beat you again, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if Harrison Barnes is going to hit that clutch 3 again like he did. But also, I don't think Kevin Huerter is going to go 3 of 12. I don't think Keegan Murray is going to go 1 of 5. Those are good players. Keegan Murray 0 of 3 from 3. Kevin Huerter 0 of 5 from 3. That's not going to happen. But if you're Golden State, you're not too worried. You bounce back. You do some adjustments. Wiggins will continue to get better. He had 17, 7 of 16 from the field, only 1 of 8 from 3. I know he missed the final shot, but he's still coming back. I think he's just going to get better. Steph was great with 30 points. I think Klay... when playoff time comes, I think Klay elevates his game. As you see, Klay has not been the same person that we've known from Klay, but I think he's kind of saving himself for the playoffs a bit. But I think he knows when he can turn a switch and say, "Hey, I got to go now." He put in 21, 8 of 19 from the field, 5 of 14 from 3. I think he'll shoot a bit better from 3, but him and Steph 6 of 14, 5 of 14. They're going to hit their threes. Draymond had a decent game. 9 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 points. Again, I'm not too concerned if I'm Golden State. It's going to be tough to play Jordan Poole. He did end with 7 points, but Fox and Monk were looking for him on the defensive floor. They were really attacking Jordan Poole. So it's interesting to see how they use Poole, even though he's got the contract, that big contract. But I think this is going to be the most exciting series in the first round, and I'm looking forward to Game 2. Next series, we had last night, we had the Clippers take game 1 against the Phoenix Suns, 115-110. The Suns being my NBA champion. Kawhi Leonard had himself a day, 38 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 10 from the line, 13 of 24 from the field. And Russell Westbrook, well, he had the greatest 3 of 19 day that anybody could ask for. 9 points, 3 of 19 from the field, 11 rebounds, though, 8 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and the biggest block coming in the final seconds of the game where he blocks Booker and then throws it off, and while Booker's complaining at the refs. Wild game. On the other side, Kevin Durant ended with 27. Torrey Craig had a nice day with 22. And Booker ended with 26. This was a weird one for me because Russell Westbrook played his butt off. He played very hard. Obviously, didn't shoot the ball well, but it shows how Russell Westbrook can impact the game without having to score. And I think that's important for the Clippers if they want to win this series. He has to be able to play like that every single game, which I don't know if that's possible, but we will see. But from the Suns' perspective, I think it's just a bit of adjustment, similar to Golden State. You got to get Kevin Durant the ball more. He only had 2 touches or 2 shots, I believe, in the fourth quarter. That's unacceptable. I think Chris Paul is going to shoot better. He shot 2 of 8. He's missing a lot of floaters that he usually hits. And I think what this will do, though, bring a sense of urgency to Phoenix. I think they were kind of walking a bit, just walking through the series, not really stepped up. They weren't in playoff mode yet. And I think this loss will be kind of snap them back to reality. Be like, oh, crap, this is the playoffs. You can lose, and your season can end. We are not guaranteed to go far. Let's turn it up a notch here. So while the Clippers played a great game, still without Paul George, I don't see this Clippers team edging them out. But really impressive win in Phoenix in Game 1. And we got the Lakers taking down the Memphis Grizzlies 128-112. Anthony Davis almost went down for a bit. That was a bit scary for the Lakers. Got a stinger in his arm. He came back in the second half. He finished with 22 points, 10 of 17 from the floor. LeBron James finished with 21 points, but the big guy for the Los Angeles Lakers was Austin Reeves, finishing with 23 points and hitting some daggers at the end of the game for the purple and the gold. On the other side, you had the Memphis Grizzlies being led by Jaren Jackson Jr., who was killing the Lakers. 31 points, 13 to 21 from the field. Darren Bain had a good game. 22 points from him with 6 assists. But the big story coming out of this game is Ja Morant's injury. If Ja is hurt, this series is, I don't think Memphis is going to be able to compete. I think they have a very good roster, considering their number one player going down and not having another, quote, star. Jaren Jackson really stepped up. Desmond Bane, one of the most underrated players in the NBA, in my opinion. Dylan Brooks is still a decent player, even though he runs his mouth a lot, can still contribute very well. I don't know if they're going to... Again, Luke Kennard, good player, can shoot the ball, can hit the 3-and-D kind of guy, but when you're going up against like a LeBron and AD and way Austin Reeves is playing, apparently, if you don't have Ja Morant, I don't see the series going more than 6 games for the Lakers. I think that'd be a big win for the Lakers, but I just don't see it going. If Ja Morant's out, I don't see a way Memphis wins. If Ja Morant comes back, it can make this series very interesting. But just like unlike Giannis, who seems like he's going to be okay, which if he's healthy, I think the Bucks are going to cruise, even though they lost Game 1. This is not one of those things. It doesn't look like Ja's going to play Game 2. I don't know if he's going to play the rest of the series. So Memphis's season is seriously in doubt if Ja Morant is out. But I got to talk at least a little bit about my Brooklyn Nets. They got absolutely manhandled on Saturday, unfortunately. Played a good first half, but couldn't follow that up. Ended up losing by 20. I will say, Mikal Bridges looked awesome. Looked absolutely awesome in the first half. You got to get him more looks in the second half. He's got to be a bit more aggressive to know it's his team. But I'm not expecting much from this team. I do expect at least. I don't expect a sweep. I expect you at least to win a game, maybe two. But this is you're facing a better talented team. They clearly were not. The Nets are not a good defensive rebounding team. The Sixers are a very good offensive rebounding team. That's gonna happen. And the ways to win the games, though, you gotta push the ball. You gotta play with pace, force a lot of fast break points, and you can't let what James Harden did to you happen again. You can't let him carve you up the way you did. You can't allow the open threes. You can't get beat by the three ball. They have the talent inside in Joel Embiid. He's gonna get his points, but you can't let the role players get those big threes and continue to pile on 3 points versus 2 points and separate themselves. So that's the big keys for Brooklyn. But yeah, they're not. It doesn't look good for them to win the series. When we come back, NHL playoffs start tonight. I'm going to give my predictions. Who's taking home the Stanley Cup right here on the Scharf Show, 99.1 FM, WIUX. All right, welcome back to the Scharf Show here on 99.1 FM, WIUX, and we got Stanley Cup playoff action tonight. First game up, we got the New York Islanders at the Carolina Hurricanes at 7. And then it's Boston, Florida, Dallas, Minnesota, LA, Edmonton. That's tonight's slate. Then tomorrow, my New Jersey Devils play, and we got the other 4 series. We're going to give you my predictions for the best playoffs in sports. We'll start off in the East, I guess. We'll start with the Boston Bruins, the President's Trophy Cup winners, the best regular season in NHL history team, versus the Florida Panthers, who just squeaked in by the skin of their teeth. I don't see this one going far. I've got the Bruins in 4 here, actually, a sweep. It's my only sweep I have predicted. The Bruins are just a far better team, far deeper. Better at every position. This team is far superior than Florida. Florida barely squeaked in. I just don't see how Florida competes. Give me the Bruins in 4, maybe 5. Maybe they get a game. Then you got the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to get out of the first round since the early 2000s versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, who made it to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row, winning 2 of those. And I think their Stanley Cup finals runs, at least in a row, will come to an end. I got the Lightning losing to the Maple Leafs in 7. The Maple Leafs finally get out of the first round. If this was the year for them to do it, if there was any year for them to do it, it'd be this year. Tampa is limping into the playoffs. They're not the same team they used to be. They do not have as much depth. They haven't been playing that as well. Toronto playing well, made great additions at the deadline. Getting O'Reilly from the Blues, great leader, great role player, not even a role player, just a great player who's won a Conn Smythe. Jake McCabe was a great pickup on the back end. This has to be the year Toronto does it. So give me Toronto in 7. Then you got the Carolina Hurricanes against the New York Islanders. I got the Carolina Hurricanes winning this one in 6. I know this is a trendy pick to have the pick the Islanders. I've seen it be a trendy pick. Sorokin, the Islanders play well in the playoffs, and I get all that. But I still, even with Pacioretty out, even with Svechnikov out, I still like the Carolina team to take care of business. I think Freddie Anderson will play well enough to get this series win. I don't think he's going to play awesome, but I think he does enough. If Sorokin plays so well, he can win this series for the Islanders. He can steal this series for them. He can get to that level where he not just steals a game, but steals multiple games. And with the Islanders' style of play, they definitely can win this series. They are a scary team, but I'm still going to end up taking the Carolina Hurricanes. Then, you got the matchup I think most people are looking forward to the most. Myself, 100,000% included. To the moon. I am excited. You got my New Jersey Devils taking on the arch rival New York Rangers in what's going to be an absolute bloodbath. Just 7 brutal games. A dogfight that the New Jersey Devils will emerge victorious on. This is a coin flip of a series both teams can win. I think I like the Devils' defense more than the Rangers. I think they're a bit more balanced throughout. Not to say I don't like the Rangers' defense. I mean, how can you not like Adam Fox? I just think they're more balanced 1-6, and they can even bring in Luke Hughes if they wish to. Offensively, I think the Rangers it's pretty close. It's probably even, but Patrick Kane and Tarasenko, I think Kane's going to have a big series. I think the fact that he's been there, he's done that, he's won 3 cups, he's one of the clutchest players in NHL history. He's going to find a way to put his stamp on this series. And obviously, the goaltending-wise, Rangers have a decent advantage with Igor Shesterkin being one of the best goalies in the league. Vitek Vanacek, no slouch, though. Definitely had an awesome year, and I'm looking forward to seeing his playoff debut. I think a big advantage for the Devils would be, I think the X factor for the Devils, I think the guy who really turns it up in this series is the guy with the biggest playoff experience. That's Andre Palat. This is why you go out and you get an Andre Palat. For a series like this, for playoff hockey, for games like this, this is why you sign Andre Palat. He didn't have the greatest season. He was hurt a bit. He didn't put up that many points. But if he goes out and he helps, he plays a big impact in this series, in this playoffs, it proves that it's worth it. He might not be able to help you as much in the regular season. He might not put up the numbers that scream $6 million a year player. But if he goes and does damage and he makes a huge impact in the playoffs, it's totally worth that salary cap hit, and it'll prove why he can be such a valuable player to any team he's a part of, which is the Devils now. So I think Palat has a huge series for the New Jersey Devils and is the X factor for them winning. On the Rangers side, I think you start to see. I'm not going to say start to see. I think you don't see as big of a series from Panarin as one might think. I think Zibanejad has a good series. I think Kane has a great series. I think Fox has a great series. Panarin, in last year's playoff run, wasn't that big. If you check the numbers, I think prediction-wise, if you check his numbers probably at the end of this Rangers run, he'll probably put up a decent amount of points. But I think they're going to be very scarce. I think they're not going to. I don't think he's going to be scoring the big goals in big opportune moments. Maybe he'll have a couple power play points. But I don't think when you need Panarin to show up or to get a goal or make a big play, I don't think he's going to make it. And I think that is another big reason why the Devils are going to come out on top in this series. So to end it off, give me the Devils in 7. Then, on the West side, let's move out to the Western Conference. You got the 1-seeded Colorado Avalanche taking on the Seattle Kraken. Kraken in their second season after being expanded from an expansion team. They make the playoffs in a huge jump. Not many people expected this. The Colorado Avalanche being the defending champions. In this series, I'm going to take Colorado to win in 6 games, I think. I think I'm going to go 6 games. 5 or 6, I think. Doesn't get to 7. Makar's in this game. I know they're missing Rantanen. I know this isn't the same. They don't have Kadri. It's not the same Colorado Avalanche team of last year's run, but they still have Nathan McKinnon. They still have Mikko Rantanen. They don't have Landeskog, excuse me. They have Mikko Rantanen. They have Cale Makar. They have Samuel Girard. This is a very good team, and Georgiev can be a good goalie. And I just don't think Seattle... this is still, regardless, a great season for Seattle. I think Seattle wins one at home. Their crowd's going to be going crazy for a first playoff game in Seattle for hockey. They're going to be going nuts, but they just don't have the star players to come up in big moments, I think, to really compete with a team like the Avalanche. And ultimately, I think that'll be their downfall as the Avalanche win in 6 games. Then you got a very intriguing series to me. The Dallas Stars, the 2 seed, playing the Minnesota Wild, the 3 seed. This is a very interesting matchup for me. Because I think this could go both ways. I am gonna pick the Stars here to win in 7 games. I just think they're the more complete team. Plus, I think Ottinger is better than the tandem. Even though Fleury can definitely become, really take over. He's done that in the past before for playoff teams. Ottinger, I think he's just proved it more recently. With last year, going up against the Flames, the way he took them all the way to 7 games was crazy. But, yeah, I think they're more of a complete team. Jason Robertson is so underrated, such a good player. They still got guys like Sagan and Ben. I like the Stars here. The one thing is, if Kaprizov takes his game and really puts the Wild on their back, they can definitely win this series. They do have very good players. But I'm going to take the Stars here to win this series in 7 games. Then we got the Las Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Winnipeg Jets. And while the Jets definitely have the better goaltender in this series, Connor Hellebuyck is a hell of a goalie and can definitely steal a couple games. I don't think he's going to steal in the series. Vegas is a better team. They are also getting their captain, Mark Stone, back, which is absolutely huge for Vegas. Give me Vegas to win this one in 6. I think Hellebuyck will steal a game or 2, but that'll be it. I just don't think Winnipeg's going to be able to compete, especially in a long series, with Vegas. Then you got, again, another intriguing matchup with the Kings against the Oilers. Connor McDavid against Anze Kopitar and Philip Deneau. Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. These teams met last year in the playoffs when the Oilers won that series. I will pick the Oilers again to win this series in 6. I think the Kings are going to put up a fight. I think they're going to make it hard on guys like Nugent-Hopkins with Deneau and Kopitar being such good players defensively for being forwards. But I don't see a way, similar to last year, how Connor McDavid just doesn't take over this series and go into beast mode. I don't know what else to call it. Just completely take over a series like he did, multiple series like he did last year. I'm going to pick the Oilers here to win in 6. We'll go back to the East for the conference semifinals. We got the Bruins against the Maple Leafs, and this is going to shock people, but I have the Maple Leafs winning in 7. The Bruins, I don't like picking President's Trophy Cup winners to win the Stanley Cup. And I know it's going to be hard for anytime you say the Bruins lose, you're going to be like, what? How do you have them losing? They got to lose somewhere if I'm not having them win the Cup. So, and this is where I have it. I think Toronto, once they get out of the first round, they're going to have a ton of momentum. Bruins, Maple Leafs games series always go 7 games. They're always great series, bitter rivals. And I ultimately think with that momentum, the Maple Leafs get it done. And they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then we got the Carolina Hurricanes against the New Jersey Devils. And I'm going to take my Devils here in 6 games. I think this is the series where Freddie Anderson really lets Carolina down, shows them that they do need a goaltender. I think losing Svechnikov, losing Pacioretty really hurts. And ultimately, I think the Devils take this series in 6 games. I think Jack Hughes has a big series in this one. I think the star power, just the ultimate with the big injuries, and I think the goaltending. I think Vitek Vanacek really has a big series this year against Freddie Anderson, who I think his lack of high quality goaltending starts to show. Then back out west, we got the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Dallas Stars. I'm taking the Colorado Avalanche in 6 games. This is the Stars are definitely a sneaky team to make a deep run, but I think the Avalanche still got more in them. I think Cale Makar, Nate McKinnon put their stamp on this series. I think they really take it to Ottinger. I think Ottinger steals maybe a game or two like he did against the Flames last year. But ultimately, I just think that the Avalanche have too much talent, and they advance to the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. Then the Oilers play the Knights. I'm going to take the Oilers in 6 games. I think Connor McDavid just takes over this series. And without an elite goaltender for Vegas to really try to just contain Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, I think he takes over and ends up winning this series for them in 6 games. Stuart Skinner, I think, continues to have himself a nice playoffs Rookie of the Year candidate. Probably going to finish second behind Beniers. I think he proves that he could be a very good goaltender in this league. All right, Eastern Conference Finals. You got the Maple Leafs versus the Devils. I'm going to take the New Jersey Devils to win in 7 games. Again, this could be a bit of bias showing. I think these are 2 great teams. But I think if the Devils get rolling, especially after they win the Rangers and the Hurricanes, I think Maple Leafs fans will be coming off, and Maple Leafs be coming off so much of a high after using that momentum to get through Boston. To kind of get a little bit of a letdown. Not really. I think it still goes 7, but ultimately, I just think that the Devils will win that series against the Maple Leafs, and they go to Stanley Cup Finals, and they're going to face the Edmonton Oilers as they beat the Avalanche in 7 games. I think this is Connor McDavid year to come out of the West. There's no super team in the West, in my opinion, that can really dominate like in the East. And I think Connor McDavid takes full advantage of that. This could be an awesome series with McKinnon, like we saw last year. McKinnon, Makar, Draisaitl, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins. So many stars. And I think McDavid gets his revenge on Nate McKinnon, and they advance to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they will lose to the New Jersey Devils in 7. That's right. I'm not biased at all because I'm picking my New Jersey Devils to hoist the Stanley Cup. Jack Hughes for Conn Smythe. Vitek Vanacek is a stone wall. Dougie Hamilton is a goal-scoring machine from the the blue line. That's right. Call me biased. Do whatever you got to do. I got the Devils winning the Stanley Cup. Is it highly probable? No. Is it possible? Definitely. I think if you're not, I think there's 3 ways you can kind of go picking who's going to win the Stanley Cup. I think Boston, obviously, huge. I think Edmonton's also a huge favorite. I think whoever comes out of that Rangers-Devils series has a very good chance to go far and compete for a cup. Like I said, I think the Rangers can win that series, and I think they can make a similar path to what I said to the Devils. But with the Devils winning that series, I think they take that momentum and they use that to win the Stanley Cup, and I have the best night of my life. As Devils fans, we get back to glory after years of pain since 2012. Devils hoist the Stanley Cup. Those are my predictions for the Stanley Cup. But you know how unpredictable it's be. It's probably going to be super wrong. But I am so excited to watch how tonight starts it all off. When we come back, though, we are going to talk a bit of baseball for you. What's going on in the world of the MLB when we come back on the Scharf Show. 99.1 FM, WIUX. All right, welcome back to the Scharf Show here on 99.1 FM, WIUX. And we've got another week of MLB. Another week of Major League Baseball. And the New York Mets, the last 10 games, they currently sit 7-3. They've won their last 4 in a row. They swept the Oakland A's in Oakland, and they play the Dodgers next in a pretty big series that in LA will be a pretty nice test for this team to see what they got going. What can they continue to this success? And it wasn't a pretty series versus the Oakland A's at times, but I think it's important to find ways when and not everything's going right to get the job done. I think that's what they've done. And they've relied on their big players, their key players, their most important players, like Pete Alonso, who currently leads all of majors, not the National League, all of majors in home runs with 8. He's currently in 267 with a 371 on base, 683 slugging for a 1055 OPS. Boy, oh boy, has Pete been good to start the year. And this is what you want to see. I think Pete's going to, I don't know if he'll keep those numbers up, but I think you're going to see Pete compete for the home run title this year. I think he's going to be in some MVP races the way he you were hoping a season like that would come where he really puts it all together. And this could be the one. Francisco Lindor, not falling far behind. Batting 246, getting that average up a bit, but still 371 on base, 561 slugging, 933 OPS. He's doing his thing. 6 doubles on the year for him with 4 home runs, 16 RBIs for Mr. Lindor. So they're getting a lot of good contributions from the big guys, and they've got a couple surprises like Tommy Pham having a nice start to his Mets career, hitting 281, 361 on base, 500 slug, 861 OPS. Had a nice home run in the Oakland series. You're getting nice at bats from like a guy like Tommy Pham, which is a bit unusual. You wouldn't have thought that. And one of the things I took away, I guess I had to take away from this Oakland series, besides those big boys coming up clutch, is how about the start from Jose Butto? This guy had a terrible start last year. Only made one of our top 20 prospects, 20 to 30, last year. Made us one start with the Mets last year, and gave up 7 earned runs in how many innings? 4 innings. 7 earned runs, 9 hits. Put his ERA at 15.75 to start his career. Not too good if you were to ask anybody if that's a good ERA. But he doesn't worry about that. He comes back. First start of the year for him with the big club this year, and he does it right. He plays in a great start against Oakland. He ends up going 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run only. Ends up getting 2 Ks on the day, but Ks are not his big MO. And I think Butto is going to be able to give you a spot start here and there. Maybe he goes in the bullpen, but you've gotten some good pitching from guys like that. Who else? Whereas Demille Reyes has been fantastic in his kind of rookie debut, or his first season with the big club. 5 innings so far pitched out of relief. No earned runs, 5 Ks, 3 hits. He's been very good. So your pitching continues to get better. Still a bit worried about Carrasco, but he did have a nice bounce-back game in his previous start. I'm excited for sure to see Scherzer on the mound today. I think his start is going to happen, but Mets just keep rolling. It's important just to find ways to win series, to sweep series. It's all about winning those. They're getting contributions from their pitching, batting. They're getting the top guys are stepping up. You're hoping the lineup rounds out because Brett Beatty is coming up Finally, he got called up. He ended his season in AAA with a grand slam to bring his average up to 400. I think his OPS was above 1,500. That's insane. He was absolutely demolishing the ball in AAA. Now, when he comes up, you got to remind people, don't expect this guy to be this team's savior. Don't expect him to hit 320 with 3 home runs into 500 slugging. Let him ease into it. He was killing the ball in AAA. He deserves a spot, but he's not our Lord and Savior here. He's not the end-all, be-all for the Mets. He's going to be a nice piece. You're hoping he can bring some hitting, some average, some life to the back end of that lineup, but he's not the end-all, be-all. So don't expect that from him, but expect good things. I'm excited for Beatty to get back in this lineup. I'm excited to see what he can bring, and I think he's going to do a decent job holding down that third base. I think he's going to probably be the third baseman for most of this year for most of the games. I think you start to see a bit of a breakout from Brett Beatty. I'm so excited to see that. One team that has, after leaving the Mets now, one team that has surprised me a bit so far this year has been the Chicago Cubs. Just won a series against the Dodgers in LA. Currently sit 8-6 on the year, 7-3 in their last 10. This is a team that I thought would be good, but they're playing a lot better than I thought they were. I give them credit. Patrick Wisdom has had a great start to the year. He's currently sitting with a 10.08 OPS. Dansby Swanson's fitted now. He's hitting 358 right now. Nico Horner, big average guy, he's still hitting 333. Ian Happ has a 308 average. They are hitting the ball pretty well over there at Wrigley for the Cubs. And they're also getting not terrible pitching, which I didn't know how good they were pitching would be, but Justin Steele's been fantastic. 1.42 ERA, 19 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Stroman's been awesome. 18 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 ERA. Now, Tyone and Smiley have been okay, but Azalea been pretty solid in his 5 games played. 8.2 innings, 3 earned runs, 3.12 ERA. Now, do I think they're going to keep this up? No. Do I think for example, do I think Cody Bellinger can have the year he's having? 245, 317 for a 769 OPS. Do I think he can have a year like that? Yes. Do I think Patrick Wisdom's going to keep up his numbers? No. Do I think Swanson's going to bat 358 all year? No. So, it's a great start for the Cubs. Great start. I don't think they make the playoffs still. I'm not changing my opinion on that. I think what this does, though, it puts them in position to go trade Bellinger and some of these guys, go trade them to get those final pieces, say, hey, next year we start building. We start looking to win next year. We are buying next year. You're going to have some prospects come up. Maybe 2 years PCA comes up, and they're already starting to get in that win mode. I don't think they start to sell big prospects at the deadline, but they start to go compete more. They don't really sell off. I think they'll probably be in that middle range where they don't buy, they don't sell, or they buy small. But this, I think, is like probably the last year you see the Cubs sell. I think they're going to need a bit more pitching. I don't know if their pitching holds up like this.